Greetings here from the U.S., where Prime Minister Modi is in Washington, D.C., has addressed Congress and, of course, the state dinner underway. But the sum and substance of what has emerged at the end of this state visit that the Prime Minister has made is the fact that there is a sense of urgency to foster a deeper partnership, especially when we talk about areas of defense and we talk about areas of technology, and within technology, emerging and critical technology also, including semiconductors. Joining me now is Minister Vaishnaw. Minister Vaishnaw was in fact here ahead of the Prime Minister's visit in the US, meeting with his counterpart and really setting the stage up for the kind of announcements that we've seen coming in. Mr. Vaishnaw, many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Appreciate your time. For the benefit of our viewers, I'm just going to run very briefly through some of the key announcements that have come in. Micron will invest over $800 million towards a $2.75 billion assembly and test facility in India. That is in phases. Applied Materials will set up a semiconductor center for commercialization and innovation. And Lam Research will train about 60,000 Indian engineers through its Semiverse solution. Just some of the highlights of the announcements that have come in. Mr. Vaishnaw, let me start by asking you, first on the broader partnership between India and the US. The iCET is already operationalized. That is the understanding that the two sides have as far as critical and emerging technologies are concerned. How much progress has been made on that front?
Shereen, this is a very important milestone in our journey towards developing the semiconductor industry. As you are aware, we have taken a very comprehensive outlook. Instead of forcing through a fab, we are focused on creating the ecosystem. It's very important that we create the ecosystem so that the industry can grow sustainably. So the announcement of Micron to set up the first semiconductor unit in India is very important for us. And simultaneously, the announcement from Applied Materials to set up the engineering center so that those complex and sophisticated equipment which go into the semiconductor industry, they can be designed in India, they can be made in India. And the focus on training, focus on developing talent. So Lam Research will be using their state-of-the-art Semiverse, which is a virtual reality-based system, to train 60,000 engineers into manufacturing semiconductors. So this is a very good endorsement, and I'm very glad that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit has led to this major development.
Mr. Vaishnaw, if I can address each of those announcements individually, and let's start by talking about Micron, because that is the big one. There will be a component of what the center puts on the table, which is about 50%, and what the state government in the state of Gujarat will put on the table, which amounts to about 20%. Can you explain the structuring and the contours of the incentives, how they will be rolled out, and what it will eventually mean, both for the center as well as for the state government?
Our semiconductor program, right from the beginning, had a very clearly defined structure for giving the incentives. See, this is a new industry. This is a very complex industry, and this has a great impact on the way our economy grows. So right from day one, we were very clear to learn from whatever sources we could learn all across the world, the experience of the world, and our experience of the past. So we decided to structure it in a way where we will be giving the incentive pari passu, a dollar for dollar, whatever investments they make in the construction of the facility, getting the plant set up, getting the entire ecosystem set up, that same amount we will be putting in the plant. The government of Gujarat is topping up that incentive through its own cabinet approved policy. So this is going to be a very important milestone. See, what's important is, when the first plant comes, the chemicals which are required in the semiconductor industry, the gases which are required in the industry, the equipment manufacturers, the entire ecosystem of logistics which is required, it's a very precision kind of industry. All that starts coming, and that sets the stage for the entire industry to grow. So we are very hopeful, and we have very high level of confidence that we should be seeing 2 or 3 major announcements in the coming months.
Okay, 2 or 3 major announcements is what you're anticipating. I'll get to that in just a second, but let me address the Micron issue, sir. When do you expect the facility to be operationalized? What's the indication given by the company? And also, what is the approved capacity that's been cleared for Micron specifically?
So land allocation has been practically done. The design for the plant is practically frozen. The construction agencies are getting finalized. So we expect that within 6 quarters from now, the production should start. As you know, Micron is the leading memory memory manufacturer in the world. So a series of products in the memory value chain, they will all be manufactured here. And I wouldn't be able to put a full complete number on which particular memory will be how much capacity, but the overall, when the plant ramps up to its full production, the revenue from the top line, the turnover from this plant will be of the order of $1 billion per annum.
Okay. I just wanted a clarification, sir, because there have been some changes that the government has announced with respect to the semiconductor policy, especially in terms of clearances. Now only a cabinet approval is going to be needed. One, why did you feel the need to bring in those changes? 2, specifically on the Vedanta Foxconn venture, there's been a lot of back and forth on where things currently stand. Is that likely to move forward or not? If you can clarify on both these, sir.
See, our semiconductor program is driven by some of the best professionals in the world. People like Mr. Vinod Dham, people like Professor Arogya Paulraj, people like Mr. Cyril Patrick Fernandez. I mean, these are the names of the industry, Mr. Manocha. These are the names in the industry which are known globally, right? So as we learn, as we progress in this program, whatever changes are needed, we must make those changes. That is the approach we have followed, very open-minded approach, very consultative approach, an approach in which making sure that India develops this very, very important foundational industry for its future. So that's the approach we have followed. That's why, as and when we have felt the need to change the policy, we have changed it. And I'm very glad that our Prime Minister has followed that open-minded approach so that this industry can grow sustainably. On the Foxconn and Vedanta proposal, we have asked them to resubmit under the new window so that it can be evaluated afresh. And once they resubmit their proposal, we will be able to evaluate it and give the correct assessment.
Any reason why they've been asked to resubmit, sir? Because it's already been several months when they were cleared and shortlisted. So any specific reason why they've been asked to resubmit?
The qualification criteria which was laid out when the program was first rolled out 1.5 years ago, many of those criteria has changed. The industry has also seen a kind of change in its composition. There is a very clear understanding within the entire semiconductor industry today that the entire range of nanometers, the node size, will be important going forward because the way telecom industry is growing, the way EV industry is growing, the way power electronics is growing, that need will be there throughout the spectrum of nodes, right? From all the way from 14 nanometer, 8 nanometers to 80 nanometers, 90 nanometers. So that change is reflected in the changes that we made, the modifications that we did in the semiconductor program. So we have requested all the earlier applicants to change their proposals, to resubmit their proposals as per the revised guidelines.
Well, on that note, we'll take a break, but when we return, we continue our conversation with the IT and Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. Stay on with us.